With Liquor Barn, you can shop your favorite bourbon, that perfect bottle of wine, or discover something new. To place an order for pickup or delivery, download the Liquor Barn app, visit liquorbarn.com, or call your nearest Liquor Barn location. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our email list for all the latest news on products, promotions, and events. Liquor Barn, where Kentuckians go to celebrate life. Cheers!
We could tell you that Penelope Bourbon's 4-grain stray bourbon whiskey is a multiple double gold winner at SIP Awards, or that Wine Enthusiast named it a Best Buy, or that Tasting Table named it one of the 12 best small batch bourbons under $40. But really, all you need to know about Penelope 4-grain is that it aims to please. Whether you enjoy it neat or mixed in your favorite cocktail, Penelope 4-grain is a staple in every well-stocked bar. Pick up your bottle at penelopebourbon.com. Hey Bourbon Lifers, I've got something really special to share with you. Company Distilling is an award-winning distillery nestled in the heart of the Great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee. Founded in 2020 by friends with a rich history of building distilleries and distilling award-winning whiskey, Company Distilling is dedicated to crafting exceptional spirits that give you a reason to gather around with the best of company. Chris Tatum and Jeff Arnett have been part of the ever-changing landscape of the industry for a combined 30-plus years, and they're continuing that tradition with Company Distilling. When you pour a glass of Company, you're experiencing something new and innovative, but after one sip, you'll know it's not their first go-round. If you'd like to experience this award-winning whiskey, visit one of their 2 distilleries in Tennessee or find Company Distilling on shelves near you. Don't miss out on this incredible spirit made for the best of company. Visit companydistilling.com to learn more.
Limestone Farms bourbons are like a secret portal to a world of rich flavors where high proof meets smooth satisfaction. Every barrel is meticulously crafted and blended with a specific message in mind. Experience clean delineated flavor profiles that will have you engaged from the first sip to the final drop, making your palate beg for just one more taste. Limestone Farms, bringing heritage home.
Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and today we are on location. We are live in Augusta, Kentucky at Augusta Distillery. I got with me my good friend, Matt. He is back after missing last week. Matt, welcome back, man.
That's right, I am back, Mark.
Yeah.
It's great to be back. We've got a lot of stuff going on today, a lot of firsts going on today.
A lot of firsts, exactly right. Yeah, our first 4-time guest ever. We'll talk about that.
First 4-time guest ever.
First time ever in Augusta.
First time ever in Augusta.
I told everybody where we are. Oh, man.
You already said it, though.
I did, okay.
Anyway.
I was going to say, did I ruin the surprise already? But we are the Bourbon Life Podcast.
First trip in the RV?
Oh, first trip in the RV.
Sorry,
That's right.
I had to interrupt.
We got the Bourbon Life RV
Yeah.
out there as well. So a lot of firsts today, man. But we are the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by Liquor Barn. We appreciate their support. We appreciate the support of all of our sponsors, everything they do for us. We could not do the show without them, of course. Matt, with that said, let's just jump into it, man. You want to tell everybody who we have with us?
That's right. Absolutely. Enough about us, because we're on location. We've got a great show for everybody. And so let's just get right to it. Joining us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever it is you're getting your Bourbon Life Podcast, we have the president and also the director of distillery operations at Augusta Distillery, Ryan Edwards and Alex Castle, respectively. Welcome on to the Bourbon Life Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. It's good to be back on.
Yeah. You are our very first 4-time guest, Alex. Congratulations.
That's right. You started with us in 2020.
That's right.
Now, back in 2024, you can't get rid of us.
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was looking at the notes, and it was episode 32. So we were just young pups. I mean, you know.
You definitely didn't have the snazzy equipment.
No, we did.
then.
I know, right? Yeah, we were recording on Squadcast, and I think, Matt, I went back and listened to that a little bit yesterday, and I think you were at home. I think it was during COVID, and you were on your own and on your terrible laptop with your terrible Wi-Fi.
More than likely.
It was a rough sounding episode, man. But yes, we are a little higher quality here, so, and on location, which is great, and love up. First time up here, as a matter of fact. So gorgeous. I think everybody can see behind you, Alex, the background there and see everything. So very cool. So let's talk about, before we jump into the show, let's talk about what we're going to be drinking on this round. Alex, if you want to tell everybody, because we got 2 different things poured up for this round, if you want to tell everybody.
Yeah, so today we're going to be sampling our Buckner's line. And so to start off, we're going to have our 10-year-old and our 13-year-old. The 10-year-old is a double gold winner, and the 13 actually won Best Bourbon at San Francisco in 2023. So we are so proud of these two products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about we're going to start with this 10-year-old. I had the 8-year-old in my mind. I told you guys to do that. Do you want to talk about the 10-year-old itself, though, and tell us a little bit about it, the proof and everything?
Yeah, so of course, everything we do in Augusta is single barrel. So there's a good chance you'll never find the same barrel again. Mm-hmm. Every bottle you get is going to be a little bit different. And we put all the information on the bottle. So you want to read off the information?
Oh, sorry. We're asking you to read it off, and Matt steals the bottle.
What proof are we drinking?
So we are drinking from barrel 57. This is proof 131 proof, so 65.5 ABV.
Yeah, so we're starting off nice and warm.
Yeah, a slow introduction into things, if you will.
Yeah, no doubt. So Matt, you know how it rolls. I always throw it to you, man. What do you pick up in this on the nose?
It's got a really nice nose, like good sweet cream corn. There's also some darker barrel influence that I'm picking up on it. Not as much heat for 131 proof, but it's definitely there. I mean, I'm certainly not, like, my nostrils aren't blown away by any ethanol or any heat off it, but it's really great nose, really great aromas, like a really, really lovely bourbon.
Yeah, and this is great because not only do I get to ask Matt, I get to ask Alex. So, hey, Alex, I'm going to throw it to you. What do you pick up on the nose on this one?
Yeah, so I agree with Matt. Definitely getting some of those very traditional barrel notes. Mm-hmm. So like the caramels and toffee. So there is that nice sweetness, not overpowering.
Yeah.
But I also get some like cherry, a little bit of fruitiness on it as well.
Yeah, I get some like dark sugar notes on it as well.
Yeah.
So that combination of cherry, maybe like a little brown sugar, dark sugar type of aroma. The oak comes through as well, though, on this one. Ryan, how about you? Anything you want to?
I'll be the broken record here because the whole lineup, which I know we were talking before the show, but this is the first time that I've actually tasted the entire lineup from start to finish.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to be here today. But for me, this drinks a little low on the proof for 131. It doesn't drink 131.
Yeah.
And I do get a lot of, my palate's not as sophisticated as some others. I get a lot of the caramel and vanilla, which you would expect from a traditional Kentucky bourbon.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. So guys, let's talk a little bit. Alex, 4-time guest, but we always like to do a refresher. So let's get the Alex Castle Cliff Notes. Can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, your background, and how you got into the world of whiskey?
Absolutely. So Kentucky native, was born and raised in northern Kentucky in the Florence area, and decided to get into beverage alcohol when I was about 14, because that's appropriate. But, decided to pursue chemical engineering to make beer or bourbon. Didn't know which one I wanted to do. So fast forward, went to the University of Kentucky.
Yay! Go Cats!
Go Cats!
That's right. They're playing in the World Series college baseball today.
Oh, heck yeah. Go Big Blue.
That's right.
But went and studied chemical engineering, and it was there that I did a co-op with a company called Alltech that is now known for Kentucky ale, bourbon barrel ale. And I took it because it was a brewery. It's like, let's get my foot in the door. And then didn't know they were actually adding a distillery while I was there. And as cheap labor, I got thrown on to polishing the pot stills first. So much fun. And then ultimately got trained on the stills and filled the first 100 barrels of what would become Town Branch bourbon. So that's how I got started, and that was the experience that showed me beer, fun, not enough. I need the distillation side of things. Fast forward, graduate college, spent a year not in the industry, but was lucky enough to get on at Wild Turkey shortly after they started their facility down there. Mm-hmm. Production supervisor, working first shift, third shift, whatever I had to do. overseeing grains, receiving, mashing, distilling, all of that. And after 4 years, got a message on LinkedIn that I wasn't expecting, asked if I wanted to move to Memphis to help start a distillery. I said, why not? Let's do it. So moved the family to Memphis in 2015, right? Yeah, 2015. And helped start up what is Old Dominick Distillery. They finally opened their doors in 2017. And there, not only did I get to make whiskeys, but I learned how to make vodka, gin, whole host of other spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Was there for just shy of 9 years.
Wow.
And about 3 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago today, I think, I moved to Augusta.
Yeah.
So joined the team here at Augusta Distillery 3 weeks ago, right as we're trying to get this place up and running, and just in time for a fantastic product release.
That's
today.
right. Which we're celebrating today,
We
the
are.
17-year-old Buckners, which is great. We're going to be drinking that in round 3.
Yep.
So really excited about that. Ryan, what about you? Can you tell us about your background and how you decided to get into the whiskey industry?
I'm sitting here and I kind of wish that bourbon was that essentially almost all I've done, similar to Alex. Came right out of school, or even 14, knew that I wanted to do bourbon. I didn't get the bug until probably 2010.
Okay.
About when bourbon started taking off. And I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and founder and president here, and which has been a dream job already. And I know that over the next few months, we're going to have, just feels like milestone after milestone after milestone here at Augusta. But being from Louisville, being from Kentucky, I got the bourbon bug. I'm chasing around it used to be you could still get Pappy off the shelf.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, well, I don't know why I didn't clear the shelf out, but I didn't. And then, 2014 rolls around and I'm chasing the RNDC trucks, trying to figure out when I can get the allocations, or get behind the counter right when it shows up. And then that got harder. 2017, I started buying barrels. And then there's also one of our founders is Lance and Alani Bates. And they, in 2017, kept this building that we're sitting in from being demolished by the city. They didn't have a plan at the time. But they decided to start leasing this building just to keep it from being demolished. And of course, when you've got 45,000 square feet in a small town in Kentucky, what do? You decide to build a distillery.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Yeah.
Through the small network that is Kentucky, we kind of met up. And I said, well, I've got barrels. You all have got a building. Let's do this. Let's start a distillery. So 5 years into the industry and learning every day. Fortunate with the team we've built.
Yeah.
That's kind of who I am.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's a great story. We just had Matt Groves, who's your
Right.
sales director. Had
Yep.
him on the show, 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah, probably about 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, and we had a
And
great.
we argue with Matt. So we've got him and another gentleman, Billy Bays, on the team. Actually argue who's employee number one. Now there is a real answer, but I'm not going to disclose it.
No.
We'll let them just keep arguing
Let them
about it.
keep
Who's
fighting
employee
about it,
number
right?
one?
Yeah.
Well, Matt's such a great dude. I mean, you just run into him at different events everywhere.
Yeah.
And he's just always got the big smile on his face, man. He's always so happy to see you. And his passion. Well, he's from Augusta, right?
He is from
here.
Augusta. Yes.
Yeah. So on the episode, you can really feel the passion that he has, not just for the brand, but for this community. And I think that speaks volumes with regard to the team that you all are putting
Right.
together. Yeah. So
Right.
talking about building a team, the recent new hire who's here with us today, kind of a big surprise. I mean, right? I mean,
I think it did surprise a few people.
I will tell you, it was so funny because we were doing a crew episode right around the time that announcement that you had left. And no kid, we're all speculating. Where is Alex Castle going? And we're throwing out all these things. And it was either Matt or Chad, one of the two of these guys. They're like, well, I'm pretty sure I saw a picture of her on Instagram and they're in Ireland. And I know that Town Branch has, they do Irish whiskey. So, and we're like, well, oh, and we're all like, oh.
And she did her internship.
She did her internship
yeah,
there.
So I was like,
it's like Alex, she's going.
I didn't realize my vacation was going to play into the
Oh,
speculation.
the speculation, Alex. It was huge.
Yeah.
Another distillery in Central Kentucky that's kind of gone under the radar.
Yeah.
That did not have a master distiller. We're speculating about that because we had just had that guy on our show as well. And we're like, oh man. So the announcement came out and we're all excited, super excited that you're here. But it was a surprise. But it was a surprise that you made the jump anyway. I mean, that was kind of a thing. Can you talk about that decision and
Absolutely.
what all played into you deciding to do that?
You know, Memphis is still home. It's always gonna be home. I'm a Memphian now. It's not going anywhere. But you know, sometimes you just get to a point where you've given all you can, you've done what you can, and it just felt like it was time to find the next challenge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I left the team in good hands, set them up. They've got some amazing releases.
Yes.
You know, right now. It was just ready to take the leap. Didn't know where I wanted to go originally when I started thinking about it. And the opportunity with Augusta popped up, honestly. Very similar to the opportunity for Old Dominick. It was a message on LinkedIn.
Nice,
LinkedIn does work.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that the timing was absolutely perfect. And when I came out to Augusta for the first time ever, to meet with Ryan, meet the team, it just felt right. And there was something about this project that was so exciting.
Yeah.
And then there was that added bonus of getting so much closer to family.
Yeah.
Again, like we didn't do it for that, but that is a very nice cherry on top.
Yeah, because we talked about that earlier, you are from Northern Kentucky, right?
So about 50 minutes from here. So I'm close to all of our family now.
Yeah. So that's great. And you're a UK person, so I mean,
I am so glad to be around Kentucky Blue now. There's a lot less orange around me.
Yeah.
And it's great. I'm looking forward to football season.
Well, we're thrilled to have you back. I mean, it's awesome, and we've enjoyed having you as a guest and following your journey and everything you've done. But yeah, it was a big surprise, but it was an awesome surprise to hear the news. So congratulations to you on that. Ryan, talk about this from your perspective.
Mark, do we want to take a quick, let's do palate on the 10, because we've got 2 to get through this round, right?
I forgot, let's talk about the palate.
We've forgotten that we have whiskey in front of us.
Yeah,
we're doing 2 pours, man.
He's being such a
I'm
great
just sitting
host.
over here sipping. I mean,
I didn't know we were supposed to stop.
Right. So Matt, you want to jump in? You've been taking notes, man.
Sure. I'll talk about it. It's got a really soft palate, I think, for 131 proof. I don't think it drinks nearly close to that proof, and I mean that as a great compliment. Sometimes too high of a proof can really just leave things really astringent and really burn up the palate. It's got a nice soft, like cornbread or like a honeyed cornbread note to me on the front of the palate. Then a lot of the barrel influences, the vanillas, some of those softer cherries come through on the palate as well. But like touch of kind of warmth, cinnamon, kind of rye spice on the finish. Yeah. Just really, really well-rounded, a really, really lovely bourbon.
Yeah, the cherry sticks out to me. We talked about that on the nose. Comes through on the palate, and the cinnamon too. So like some kind of cinnamon cherry crumble or something, like a sweet dessert with that brown dark sugary comes through as well. But that cherry with the cinnamon, I don't know, it's just a great combination. Alex, what about you?
Well, now I'm hungry. I want some
it's like, where's dessert?
I want some dessert now.
Service.
No, I agree 100% with you guys. The cherry 100% comes through, but I love how soft it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you see 131 and you get a little nervous.
Yeah.
And it's almost like sipping tea. It's like an iced tea.
Yeah.
The glass will be empty before you realize it because there's no heat to it.
Yeah. It's great. Ryan, what about you? Anything you pick up?
I think, you all pretty much hit it, but I would say I always think about the bourbons in our, even though I haven't done the vertical, but the full lineup, and this one will probably have more floral notes than where we're probably going. And I do think this one has less of the Kentucky hug versus where we're also going.
Yeah.
So it's not a real, I don't consider it a real hot bourbon.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's pretty, I think, smoother, milder.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So Matt, I'm glad you did that. Maybe we can talk about the nose on this one and carry the palate and finish to the second round.
Sure, however you want to work
that
it
way
over.
We're not running like a 30-minute first segment here. What do you pick up on? So now we're going to be drinking.
Yeah, so now we're into the 13, right?
This is the 13 year.
Yeah, so Alex, you want to tell everybody about the 13-year-old?
As I did it again.
Sorry. Yeah, let Alex
Matt
have the
just
bottle,
gets
man.
so
Hands off.
excited. All right, so this particular bottle is going to be barrel 106, and it is going to clock in at 137.6 proof. So we're going up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
137.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's easy.
That is easy.
That's
Yeah.
easy.
It's a warmer upper.
And then Ryan, so these are all part of the barrels that you had originally purchased. Is that correct?
It is.
Okay.
And actually, barrel 106 was the last Buckner 13 barrel. So we're drinking today the last bottled barrel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we had to dip into the secret stash
Oh,
for,
yeah,
two
just
of,
for this.
2 of these.
Which
We
is
had to-
really small. There's not much of a secret stash left.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get spoiled. Like, and don't let me reminisce here too much, but we went to Vegas and won at San Francisco.
Right.
It was in Vegas, but we went and we won World's Best Bourbon. It was hilarious because there was 16 of us there. We took the entire company at the time and we bum rushed the stage, which is not how you do those award ceremonies. You know, you're supposed to go up, get your picture
show
taken.
some decorum.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Act
yeah.
like you've been there before.
Yeah.
But it was our
Yeah.
first, literally, our first award was Best Bourbon. So
Yeah.
what a way to start.
Yeah.
But yes, this was the original barrels I picked. And the first barrels I bought in 2017.
Okay. Yeah. Very, very nice. Matt, what do you pick up on the nose on this one?
Well, first, it's just got a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah,
color
I
to it.
agree.
Just
Good point.
nice, like mahogany and red. But the nose is really rich. A lot of fruit on this one. A lot of like dark stone fruits, kind of those red wine, plums, dark berries, almost like a currant type note to it as well. Just really rich red fruit, some orchard fruit as well, and great barrel influence to round out kind of those cherries. Slight touch of vanilla and oak, but certainly not too much.
This one, it's actually funny. Of course, this has been set in the glass for a little bit longer, but this one, even though it's higher proof, it doesn't nose to me as high a proof as the first one that we did, which was actually
the first one hit a little bit harsh. I don't want to say harsher, but
right,
the alcohol
a little
hit.
hotter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this one just has those notes just stick out, and again, I get that cherry, that kind of brown sugary. This one almost has a touch of leather to it as well that I pick up, which on older bourbon, I love it when I get that aroma as well. Alex, what do we miss? Just you tell us, set us straight.
The thing I get off this is you refer to it as vanilla, and that's absolutely what it is, but it reminds me of vanilla, or not vanilla, marshmallow cream,
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
which I love in my bourbon. So I can just sit here and smell this
Smell it,
one
yeah.
all day
Yeah.
long.
Very nice. Ryan, what about you? Anything else?
Again, I'll go with I'll represent the unsophisticated palates here today. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's brown sugar.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
vanilla.
yeah.
It is,
What's wrong with any
it
of
is
that?
what you want in a
It's
bourbon.
what you want.
It really is. I mean,
Yeah.
and again, this was the best bourbon in the world at San Francisco last
Yeah.
year, right? So
Yeah.
that's great. And that was, if I remember correctly, I think Matt said this was like your first entry. Was that?
It was our first. It was our first awards ceremony.
Yeah.
Our first award. I guess I should have made that distinction. It's not like we entered 80 and lost them
Right,
all.
right.
This was it right out of the gate because we made
Yeah.
the distinction. We didn't want to enter 50 awards ceremonies. We wanted to we picked 80i in San Francisco,
Yeah.
and did well at both.
That's awesome. So you guys won a big award. Alex, last year, you were the Master Distiller
Of the year.
From Bourbon Women, right? So, because I ran into you randomly at Liquor Barn.
Yeah,
like
when my sales team abandoned me
They
in
abandoned you,
Lexington,
yes,
I had to
that's
wait
right.
for a ride to show up.
That's so funny. Well, congratulations again, though, to you
Thank
on
you.
that prestigious award. So we got some big-time award winners here, Matt.
Yeah, and then there's us.
And then there's us,
Yeah,
right?
so,
we
but
won
hey.
double platinum at the Ascot Awards for the podcast. So
Heck
we did,
yeah.
we did something right, right? So
I'll drink to that.
Hey,
So
cheers to
we're
that.
almost at the end of round one, but we'll talk about the palate and the finish on this one, I think, in round two, so we can split it up. But, Ryan, what I was going to ask you before Matt graciously reminded me we had to taste two different whiskeys this
Interrupted.
round. Hiring Alex, I mean, that's kind of a big coup. I mean, you bring in this very talented, wonderful master distiller, a big award winner now as well, becoming very well known, super talented, in a great position, been there for
Right.
9 years, right? Can you talk about
this-
that?
I would love to talk about it. It was not in the plan.
Okay.
But the plan keeps getting better. So right out of the gate, we knew to build this distillery, because I'll state the obvious, which everybody should know, is this is sourced bourbon. I think we've covered that, but everything we're drinking today is sourced bourbon.
Yeah.
But what also got this team started was to make and drink the bourbon we like to make and drink. Very simple. So we always were going to make good bourbon, and we've had Larry Abersold on the team as a consultant since day one.
Nice.
So when you talk with Vitox, our distillery engineer, Vendome's who's making our stills, Busick's building our rick houses, we haven't cut any corners out of the gates. And the plan was just to hire someone that was passionate about bourbon to be head of operations and to learn with us. But I was at, yes, the LinkedIn message happened, but at the James Beam conference at UK, we were at Alex and I were hadn't ever actually physically met. We're at a KDA event. I knew about her, she didn't know about me. And then we actually broke bread, had a meal together, and it was pretty much right at the gate. It's like, this is great. How do I convince Alex to come to Augusta Distillery? Our thought process on how we want to make bourbon and the bourbon we want to represent out there to the industry is very similar. And we weren't actually going to have the Master Distiller title. Like, I'm opinionated on it. I think you need to have some serious distilling chops before you get that title. And I always had in my head that about 20 years is the break mark.
Yeah.
And she just happened to fit the bill. And it's been kind of awesome since then. It's been a ride, because that was March. I know it's only June, but things are moving quick.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question in a few words, couldn't be more excited about the opportunity this affords us.
Well, we couldn't be more excited for you guys too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great fit, great combination, and yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing the results of I should say, going back to business school, the synergistic effects of the combination of these two. Anyway, all right, guys. So let's save the palate and finish for round two. We're at the end of round one here. Let's take a quick break. We'll get a word from our sponsors. We'll be back with more with Alex and Ryan from Augusta Distillery in just a minute.
The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise right here in the heart of bourbon country. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, Chef Kyle Klatka prepares amazing food each day that features an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. Be sure to check them out online at thestavekentucky.com or at Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky. Three Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The Three Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they called Perfectly Tuned Taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them together. Find out more about the whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechordbourbon.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the second round of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and we are on location today here in beautiful Augusta, Kentucky at Augusta Distillery. And I do have my good friend Matt with me. Matt, how you doing, man?
Mark, I'm doing great. It's so good to be on location.
It is. This is a lot of fun. We need to.
Yeah.
This was the original idea behind the Bourbon Life, was that week after week we were going to travel to different distilleries.
Yeah.
And then Governor Beshear said nobody gets to go anywhere because of COVID, and well, you know, the rest is history, right?
Yeah, or else we would have had to make 3 trips down to bother Alex in Memphis.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
We would have been racking up miles.
Yeah, I was going to say, we probably could not have pulled off the original concept, could we? I mean, COVID actually kind of worked out to be a little bit of a blessing for us in terms of getting guests on the show, because people weren't able to do anything, right? Master Distillers couldn't go out, and they're like, we don't know you guys, but we'll be on your show. I was like, all right, that's great. We appreciate it.
A lot easier than inviting people to your creepy basement.
Creepy basement. Come hang out in the basement. Alex, next time you're in Lexington, come hang out in the basement.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you know, why not?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we are the Bourbon Life Podcast, presented by Liquor Barn, of course. We appreciate their support. We appreciate the support of all of our sponsors. We could not bring the show to you week after week without all their help and support. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Matt, with that said, would you like to tell everybody who we have with us today?
Absolutely. Ryan Edwards is the president, and Alex Castle, the director of distillery operations, at Augusta Distillery here in Augusta, Kentucky. And we've got them back on for the second round. They brought us back more or less for the second round, bringing us in here. So thank you all so much. But welcome on back for our second round of the podcast.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, we just about lost Ryan there during the break.
Yeah.
Man. I was afraid. I'm like,
Yeah.
we've never lost a guest yet, but Ryan, we just about lost him, Matt.
Yeah.
You did some quick thinking to keep him here.
What can I say? The golden handcuffs of the episode.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, so we are finishing up on this Augusta Buckner's 13-year-old, which was the best bourbon in the world from San Francisco Spirits last year. So, Matt, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it to you, man, real quick. And tell me what you pick up in palate and finish on this one.
This one, I think, brings a lot more of the heat on the palate. I know this was 137 proof, I think we said, and it definitely shows heat. Whether or not it drinks 137, I don't know, but it's certainly warmer, I feel, than the first round. But good cinnamon, like cinnamon taffy, where it has kind of that thick, oily mouthfeel and the heat as well coming across that way. Great barrel influence from the vanilla. That oak is really there, it shines through. I pick up a lot of the red fruits on this one too, and those like dark stone fruits, plum, fig, a little bit of like dried berries or cranberry almost with it. Just really, really beautiful product.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Matt. This is, when you think of like a quintessential bourbon to me, I mean, this is like the ideal palate for me. It kind of hits all the right notes, plus the proof point is right in I love the high proof stuff.
Yeah.
So, Matt, I agree, because on the nose, it came across lighter than the 10-year-old, but then once it hits your palate, it's like, hey, there's that proof I was looking for, but not too much, not overwhelming. I would be interested. I don't drink whiskey with water or ice in it, but I'm sure if you drop a big cube in this, it would probably open up and develop and be even more enjoyable potentially. So very nice. Alex, what do you pick up and palate and finish on this one?
I mean, I think we're just going to hire Matt to write all of our tasting
I
notes.
agree. Let's do that.
No need.
You didn't say if you liked heat, though.
Oh, I love it. What's not to love? This is like quintessential aged Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, the nose, to your point, you're like, oh, this isn't very high proof. And I still don't think it does drink like 137.
No,
I
certainly
don't.
not.
No, right.
But you're finally getting that Kentucky hug.
You do, yeah.
But it's not lighting you up.
Yeah.
It just lets you know it's there.
Yeah. That's what I should have clarified that yes, the proof point kicks in, but it's not overwhelming at all. I agree with that 100%. Ryan, what about you?
This is where you stop when you want to do a single barrel cast strength unfiltered. This is where you stop. And for me, what I like best about this one, because you all have covered all the flavors and the notes and whatnot, is it does start hitting you about halfway back to the back of your tongue. You really start getting that mouthfeel. You said oily, 100% agree.
Yeah.
But then you get that heat and it just finishes all the way down with the perfect finish in my mind. But
Yeah.
I like my bourbons a little hotter.
Yeah.
And this one does drink definitely hotter than the 10-year-old.
Yeah.
So that's what does it for me.
Yeah, very, very nice.
Yeah.
So guys, let's talk about the brand itself. And we had Matt on the show again a few months ago, and he talked about it. But Ryan, I think it'd be great to get your perspective as a co-founder and the president. Can you just talk a little bit about, because you said you were buying barrels.
Yeah.
Can you just kind of talk about the thought process in terms of what you were hoping to do back then, and then how everything came together to get you to this point?
I would love to say it's some master complicated thing, but what really happened is I was able to get, back in 2017, I was able to still get barrel picks. I don't own a restaurant, I don't own a liquor store.
Yeah.
I was still able as an individual to get barrel picks with buddies. And when that stopped, I was frustrated. And I've always been drawn to the fairway of strong vanilla, strong brown sugar. At least that's what I think of, 70% corn of a Kentucky bourbon.
Yeah.
And always loved single barrels, not proofed down, that are also not filtered. So I guess, I know we're not drinking wine here today, but full body, full flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as it got harder and harder, I'm like, well, let's just go make bourbon. Let's just go do it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. So nothing more complicated than that. And then the thesis we've been going forward with is, okay, because I'm not historically from the industry. I don't have a chemical engineering background. I didn't come up in the industry. It's like, okay, luckily I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and there's just this wealth. There's a reason why Kentucky makes 95% of the world's bourbon. There's a huge wealth of infrastructure and knowledge. So just started putting the pieces together of, well, we need a great distillery engineer.
Yeah.
We need a great still. We need a great location, and just starting to put all the pieces together. And that's kind of what we've been doing now for the last, 5 years.
Yeah, and that's great. So Augusta, so the building was here, your co-founders, so they owned the building, you had the barrels. So came to Augusta, what was your mindset, because you're from Louisville?
Yeah.
So Augusta obviously was 1,300 people, it's a very small town,
It's a very
right?
small town.
Yeah, so what was your thought process from your perspective about, okay, Augusta, Kentucky?
Way back when, full disclosure, that was a barrier for me and my wife Jamie to get involved in Augusta Distillery, because it's a 2 hour and 15-minute drive from Louisville.
Yeah.
That's a little bit for us as a family. That's a pretty far distance. But if you sit on some of the local restaurants, more specifically the Beehive Augusta Tavern in town, and you sit on the porch and you watch, because we're on the longest stretch of the Ohio here. It's 9 miles with no bends.
Oh,
you can actually watch the sunrise over the Ohio in the morning and the sunset on the Ohio in the evening. And we've got a porch over there. And if you sit on that porch and you have a bourbon, it's pretty hard not to fall in love with this town. So we came over a few times, got hooked. We now have a home here, and the community is so inviting that's why it's also become kind of the pseudo mission of Augusta Distillery to support the local school system.
Sure.
Our foundation
right,
will support the school system. So it is about the community. That's why we are Augusta Distillery.
That makes perfect sense.
I guess I'm drinking the Kool-Aid now.
I'm right there with you.
Right. Yeah. So now, Alex, are you here? Are you in Augusta now, or are you in?
So temporarily, I have an apartment in town.
Okay.
Because my husband's still in Memphis, finishing up some stuff,
okay, gotcha.
getting the house ready, all of that. And our original goal was to live closer to Cincinnati, closer to where all of our family is.
Yeah.
And the first night in Augusta, we did dinner at the Beehive.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Ryan made sure we had a spot on the second floor balcony facing the river. I didn't have bourbon, my husband did. Full disclosure, I had some sangria, it was delicious. And we fell in love.
Wow.
This town is absolutely wonderful. So we're working on getting a house here, not necessarily in town, but in Augusta.
Close, yeah. Very nice. So it'll be like a whole family thing here in Augusta, which is really cool.
It's like if you're not from Augusta, you got to compare it to something. It's literally like rolling into Mayberry.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody's business. Yep. Everybody knows everybody's dogs.
Oh, at this point, everyone knows where my apartment is.
Yeah.
Okay. So
even if I don't know their name, they know where I live.
It's tough as the distillery employees that are trying to get things built and turned on here. It's tough to walk down the street. It's like, well, I've got somewhere to be. I got something to do. It's hard to get anywhere.
It's kind of like the movie. You guys remember the movie Doc Hollywood?
Yes.
Where he ends up in Grady, South Carolina, and everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business and everything.
Well, the doctor delivered
Doc
all the kids, 150 babies.
Yeah,
that is
exactly
Augusta.
right. So that's Augusta, right? So, and you get to be Doc Hollywood, right? So you're the new kid in town.
Yeah.
So at least they didn't arrest you and put you in jail to keep you.
Don't let that become my new nickname.
Yeah, you can't go to LA and do plastic
Hollywood.
surgery.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how funny. Well, we've got something else. We've not talked about this yet. All right, this is the 15-year-old.
15-year,
Yeah.
yes.
So let's, Alex, again, if you'd like to share with us. So
yeah,
Matt,
of course
you
I
want
can
to
read it from here. But
Yeah, Matt, hand her that
I'm
bottle.
not that old yet.
Oh,
but,
well, good for you. I probably couldn't read it
it's
from
coming
here.
Soon,
So.
so we are actually going to drink from barrel number 2 of the 15. And this one, there actually were only 6 barrels.
There was only 6 barrels.
Oh, was it really?
Wow.
So
Okay.
saying barrel number 2 of 6,
Okay.
not a lot out there. And this particular barrel was 125.9 proof.
Okay.
So we're
Coming down.
trending downward now.
Yeah.
And this is the actual barrel.
That
Some of these are actually the ones we entered into, some aren't, but this is the actual barrel that won Best craft bourbon at ADI, American Distilling Institute, in 2023, and it was my favorite of the 6,
Gotcha.
personally.
So, all these barrels, these are all the ones that you had sourced?
I've
that
been
right?
fortunate enough that, at Augusta, now that we got Alex on board, that'll probably change, but I have sourced pretty much everything.
Are these, were they all sourced from the same distillery, or were you able to source?
The 13, 15, and I don't want to give away where we're going, but where we're going was all the same distillery.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to make sure.
The 10-year-old is the outlier.
Okay, all right.
On purpose.
Okay, I got you.
But it is always, nothing against bourbon in other locations, but it's always Kentucky here.
Gotcha. Okay, good. But to find some continuity between, because I knows this and I'm like, okay. Some continuity between this and the 13 in my mind.
It is the same lot, just to be lot as the 13,
just 2
years older.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because like you, sometimes I'm like, okay, I trust my palate. Sometimes I don't. I'm like, I'm getting some similarities on this, but I just wanted to make sure and ask that question.
It is different. I know we're maybe shouldn't be going backwards, but if you go backwards here, 2 years, it's amazing how much 2 years can change it.
Sure,
Yeah, you're absolutely right to that point, Ryan.
Yeah, so
Matt, going back to even the 10-year, and now smelling on these, just the differences.
Yeah.
But the nuance between the 13 and the 15s are certainly there. I get on the nose, the 15, like more of that age is coming through, more of that leather, more of kind of those like sweet pipe tobacco notes, like long barrel aged influence. Sweetness from the sugar, I'm getting like brulee sugar, like torched or like a dark sugar on top.
Yep.
And then I get some softer notes that to me are almost like apple pie. There's like a little bit of apple, cinnamon, like sweet baked pie crust.
Here we go back to dessert again, Matt.
I'm just
killing me, man.
I'm hungry now.
I am hungry.
But yeah, I get like kind of apple pie sort of notes, like crisp. There's a crispness on the nose of this one as well that I'm picking up.
Yeah, and again, what was the proof? This was a little bit lower, but 125?
125.
Yeah, so we're still talking a pretty high proof, but again, on the nose, I mean, it doesn't translate.
Soft.
It is not coming through as what you would think as a high proof bourbon, because I love high proof bourbons, and there's some that I like. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof's one of my favorite. But when I pour that and I nose it, I know it's like, oh wow. But with this, and we just poured this, so yeah, I mean, it's very, very nice, very pleasing. It almost has like it's weird to say that it's almost like a creaminess on the nose, but it kind of has this creaminess to me with that cherry aroma, those brown burnt sugars that Matt talked about as well. Almost dessert-like to me, very nice. Alex, what else is out there on that nose?
I'm definitely getting the cherry, the vanilla, leather, which I love a bourbon that has leather.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a leather girl, carry leather purses, so it's one of my favorite aromas in a bourbon.
Yep, I agree. Reminds me of being a kid, that leather smell. I won't go there, Matt. I won't even tell the story. Because Matt hates.
You walk into, what was Wilson's Leather or Coach. You're walking into one of those stores, and I love it.
Alex, when I was a kid and played baseball, I played the outfield, and it was very boring because, you're Little League.
Were you the one picking flowers and drawing?
I would chew on my glove.
Yeah, one better. He was out there chewing his glove.
Yeah. Well, they tie them, right? So there's little leather strings hanging off. You get bored, you're sitting in the outfield, and you start just like chewing on your. So yes, I know what leather tastes like because
we also now know why you played outfield.
Why I played outfield because I just sat there and chewed on my glove.
Well, doing a bourbon podcast too.
Yeah, there
later
you go.
in life.
There was really just research.
Yeah,
you knew at a young age.
At an early age. Yeah.
You were going to be drinking.
So when you tell people drinking bourbon reminds you of your childhood, they're like, oh, "I'm sorry, wait, what? How does that happen?"
You literally know what leather tastes like.
I know what leather tastes.
Literally know.
But another example is like the Topps baseball cards, because they had that pink bubble gum in it that had like the cornstarch or whatever, that stick of gum.
Yep.
Oh, it was terrible.
It was, but there's that certain sweetness, and there are bourbons, sometimes with bourbons that I drink, I will smell that. Will sound like we had a party foul over there on the wall.
Party foul.
Yeah, we do have a room full of people, don't we?
I know, a room full of people drinking, so but yeah, I get that kind of that bubble gum from the Topps baseball card. So again, a reminder of childhood. But anyway, I digress.
But
Ryan,
that's what's great about sensory, though.
Yes, right.
It's tied to those memories.
Yep, exactly right.
Yep.
I agree with that, Alex. So thank you. So when I say drinking bourbon reminds me of being a kid, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, right? So
Yeah.
Ryan, what about you? What do you pick up on this one?
I'm always the last one here. That's good. But I would say it's the 13-year-old, like you all said. I usually can't pick up cherry that well.
Yeah.
This is, for people that haven't
Comes
tasted
out.
Buckner 15,
Yeah.
it's got the cherry notes. If you love cherry, this is a home run. Leather, definitely more leather, definitely no more wood than the 13. It's amazing, a 2-year progression from the same lot.
How much?
Relatively similar proof, how much you can pick up.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I love, you're talking about leather, and I love that aroma on a bourbon, but I love cherry as well. When you get that nice, deep, rich cherry aroma on a bourbon or flavor on the palate, I absolutely love it, especially with that leather. Something about it just really,
What's
really
funny
good.
is I'm not a cherry fan.
Oh, okay.
At all.
Not
Like,
either.
don't ever give me cherry pie. I will not
okay.
eat it.
Do you get a cherry on top of your sundae?
My husband takes the cherry off the sundae
Yeah, Jamie
immediately.
takes the cherry. I don't like
immediately.
cherry.
But when it comes to my whiskey,
Yeah.
I'm not mad when it's cherry.
Right.
As long as it's got other things to it. If I sip it and it's nothing but cherry,
Right.
I'm
You
probably
need-
not
right.
super happy about it. But as long as it's got those other flavors to it, I absolutely adore cherry in my bourbon.
So we're all saying we like cherries soaked in leather.
That's
There,
exactly
there you go.
yes.
Yeah.
So I won't say that, every once in a while I will pour some whiskey, some bourbon in a glass and put a bunch of ice in it, which I normally don't do. And then I'll take a spoon and get my Luxardo cherries out. And I will take the juice, not the cherries, but just the Luxardo cherry juice and mix it swirl it into the bourbon. That's a little cherry overload, Alex. You might not want to do that.
But I'm going to have to tell my husband that trick because he's the cherry lover.
Okay, I'm telling you, because there's something about it that's just so good. So let's talk about the distillery here, because originally sourced bourbon with the Buckners, sourced. You guys, are you distilling on site now, or is it coming soon?
I'm
Or?
going to let you take that.
Yeah,
That's
Alex.
all you.
So Ryan and I met back in March. And what date did you tell me back in March?
I
that
probably
we-
told you next week. My answer's been next week now.
We need you now, Alex.
Yeah.
We're going to start distilling next week.
Yeah, how quickly can you start? Can it be 2 weeks? We can make 2 weeks work. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I have to do 60 days. So yeah, we were supposed to start last week before, all of that. So we are not producing yet. It's construction, it's commissioning. If you've ever done any of that, whether it's for a distillery or anything else, you know it doesn't go according to plan.
Sure.
It doesn't stick to the timeline. So literally just this past week, we finally got our chiller fired up and checked off.
Okay.
So we actually have chilled water.
Right.
Yep.
We got our boiler fired up to full steam, so we now have steam. Working through some kinks on automation for both of those,
Okay.
so that we can run safely. And then hopefully this coming week, we'll see water get into the cooker. We'll test the full grain system, not with grain, but test it to make sure it goes the whole length.
Okay.
Get some steam to those cookers, clean the system. Originally, I was hoping to make a mash like at the end of the week. We'll see if that.
Let's
it's-
hang on to
we're
that
hoping,
dream.
We're hoping.
We're hanging on to the dream.
We're hoping we can finally, within the next week, get the first mash going.
So now, when we had Matt on the show, I could be wrong, I thought he said you had a column still already and you're getting a second one?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, so we're supposed to have 2 column stills, 2 doublers.
Okay.
The first of each of those are ready to go.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
you will have 2 then, and they'll be online. So initial production, in terms of your production, what are you looking? Are you going to be running just shifts to get kind of up to speed, and then eventually go?
Yeah, we're gonna have to walk it. It'll be a nice gradual increase. Equipment fights back if you go too fast.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is 24/7.
Okay. Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's a big step, right? I mean, that's huge.
We're excited.
Yeah, we're excited.
I mean, I can't, Alex is absolutely right that I've been saying 2 weeks, 1 week for months now, but it's good that it is going to be great because Augusta, our culture is important. Our employees are passionate. Knowing that our first cook is going to be with her on board and the team.
no doubt.
That's going to be good. So whether it's next week or the week after, because it will be one or the other. It will be one or the other.
Yeah.
If not, I might be moving back to
No,
Memphis.
you're not moving on. But we got grains in the team.
Monthly
grains
lease
in
on
the
that
silos.
apartment. Yeah, nothing
We've
long
got
term here.
cooperage.
Yeah.
We've got all the equipment
Everything,
here.
yeah.
We are
Ready.
close.
Ready to go.
So
Yep, and our warehouse team is brand new to the warehousing game, but they have taken it on. They've learned how to roll barrels and rick them.
Okay.
So they're ready for our barrels to start
Nice.
heading their way.
Where are you? Are the warehouses here in Augusta?
they
or
are
you,
technically in the Augusta city limits, although they are 3.2 miles as the crow flies up on a ridge. Because
Okay.
again, everything that we've done, which I think is one of the reasons you came to us, Alex, is we didn't cut any corners. So
Yeah.
we could have built rick houses cheaper somewhere else, but we built up on a ridge on, Kentucky's got elevation.
Right.
So we're up on a ridge. We can put 6 rick houses up there. They're facing true north-south.
Okay.
Okay.
It is a true traditional rick house. So the wind up there, the east-west winds is pretty powerful.
It's pretty good, yeah.
It's pretty good. So I would argue we've got world-class maturation.
Yeah.
And
nice.
we'll have enough storage. We already have enough storage for 30,000 barrels, and we're on our way to 150,000 barrels of
So
storage.
are they 6-story rick houses?
7 stories.
7 stories? Okay.
Legal limit.
I was going to say, because it used to be, I know like Beam, they have 9, but you can't do 9. I couldn't remember
Not anymore.
what the
Yeah.
legal limit is. So 7.
Kentucky
okay.
Building Code.
Yeah,
We
7.
won't quote
They've-
too much
they've
on
learned.
the podcast. We want people to watch this thing. Legal limit's 7 nowadays.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's awesome, man.
Some
Congrats.
lessons learned along the way on that
Oh,
one.
yeah,
tons
no
of
doubt.
lessons.
No doubt about that.
Wow,
Well,
so that's going to be fun as you all start maturing product a whole lot longer. 7 floors, high up,
I can't
a
wait.
lot of wind, north, south. There's going to be
Yeah.
some,
There's going to be some sweet spots.
Yeah.
some crazy
honey
fluctuation.
barrels.
And
Yeah, and finding those spots is going to be the fun part.
That's going to
Yeah.
be, if you need
That's
help,
gonna
if you ever need help, this man with a drill in his hand can be.
Well, I mean, based on his tasting notes, he's going to be the first one I call.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. That'd be awesome. Well, guys, let's talk about. We got to talk about the palate and finish on this one, don't we?
Yes.
Because
Oh.
we're at the end of round
Yeah.
2 here. So, Matt, do you
go
have
somewhere else. Let me get it. Let me get another
Alex,
second on
I'll
this
throw
one.
it to you. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Now she's got to take a drink, but sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, so similar to the other ones, still
Yes.
absolutely getting that cherry, that punch of cherry, but in a great way.
Yeah.
And the problem is now I'm on 3rd barrel strength, so I'm trying to decide if I'm feeling the hug or if it's
Yeah.
just leftover,
Yeah.
or if I'm a little numb
yeah.
to it.
How
But it-
long is this podcast? We are drinking cast strength.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But it is lower proof, but it doesn't drink hot, super sippable. Those traditional barrel characteristics
Yeah.
are coming out. So you're getting, because I believe these were all char 4,
They were all
Right.
char 4. That's
Okay.
correct.
which is great for an older whiskey. You want
Yeah.
that deep char for those. So you're getting those fantastic sweet notes.
Yeah.
The caramels, the brown sugars, and the toffees, which
So-
I'm drawn to.
You know, and we never talked about this, and you may not be able to tell us exactly what the mash bill is, but we're talking about corn percentages somewhere in the
We'll tell you what the
70s.
mash bill is.
Oh, on this,
We'll
what-
share it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What were we looking at on this one? If
So
you-
this one is
This one's 7. So the Buckner 13-15 and where we're going last,
Yeah.
74, 18-8.
okay. All right.
With 18, just to be clear for
Yeah.
the listeners, that's rye, not
Rye
wheated.
wood.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was saying, because I'm like, I get a little bit of that rye influence, not a lot, but more than like a 10 or 12%. You can kind of tell there's a little more rye.
Just
so
enough.
Just enough,
Yeah.
right? And that corn sweetness comes through on all of it. So I was thinking in that mid 70 range. So yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for clarifying
And
that.
just to
'cause-
cover it, the Buckner 10, which does come off a little bit more floral,
Yeah.
is 78, 10, 12.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
That makes sense. So Matt, what do you pick up in terms of the palate and finish on this one?
I think the rye, the 18% rye does do a good job of cutting through some of the deeper barrel notes as well on this. But a really beautiful balance. Those cherries are there, like the leather, the pipe tobacco. Again, I'm picking up a little bit of crispness, like some apple. I think the lower proof, the 125, doesn't punch as hard as the 13-year did in terms of flavor. I think it drinks just a touch softer in terms of proof. A lot of those beautiful dark sugar notes that Alex was talking about, almost like a molasses coming through on it as well, but just beautiful. Absolutely
Yeah.
lovely product.
Yeah, I'm disappointed I never got a bottle of the 13 or 15. Now, every time I taste it, I'm like, should I?
Well, don't be that bit disappointed. We still got another round.
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm thrilled about the next round for sure. So, but yeah, tasting notes, Matt, palate and finish, I agree, man. It's just the proof point on this is 125. Still nice. It lets you know that it is a higher proof, but it's not overwhelming at all. The rye spice, like you said, Matt, that's why I mentioned that, asking about the mash bill, because I kept getting this hint of rye, more so than like a 10% or 12%, but not overwhelming, not like a 36% rye or something like that.
Yeah.
So I could sense that. And sometimes when it's higher proof and a little bit of higher rye, my palate confuses those two. So I just wanted to make sure that I was like, okay, I kind of get a little bit of higher rye. Does that make sense, Alex? On
Absolutely.
That? Okay. Yeah.
Well, because both are going to be heat.
Right.
Typically.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so what's the source of the heat? 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, very good. I mean, this is something you could sip on. I mean, obviously, I don't want to say you could drink it all day because it's 125.
But you could.
You could try.
You really
You
could.
can try.
You can try. I like
You really
that.
could.
Good
You really
effort.
could drink this one all day long. 'Cause
Very true, Ryan.
Man, this is right. That the range, that 15 to 17, 18-year-old bourbon has really become. I'm just a huge fan of bourbon in that age range. And man, this 15 is just right on point. Ryan, what about you? Anything else you want to add on?
I think just for everybody that where the 13 really starts picking up strong on the back of the tongue and kind of carries through, the 15 is just very consistent.
Yeah.
From the front of your tongue all the way. It's just a nice, it is more mellow than the 13.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I that's depends on the mood you're in on the day. I call Buckner 13 Friday night bourbon. That means Buckner 15 might be your Wednesday night bourbon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And one thing I like, is the fact that you still get that oak influence, but it's not tannic. Like sometimes when you get in these older bourbons, you taste it and it's like all of a sudden you're like, I need a drink of water.
yeah, you don't pucker at
you don't-
all.
yeah,
You're
there-
right.
no
you don't get
effect.
dry mouth.
Yep.
Not at all. And it's hard to find that balance sometimes when you start getting into this age range.
Yeah.
And this is perfect because that sweetness, those fruits, the sugars, the rye spice, everything plays together. And the oak even comes through, but it's not drying at all. It's not tannic. So, yeah, very nice. All right, so we're at the end of round 2. We ran over a little bit. Sorry about that. I know you guys we're having this awesome release party here, man. People are here.
I can't even see any of it either.
It's crazy. You guys are packed, Alex. Congratulations. And I don't want to hold you guys up, but you're drinking. It's like the rest of your day is
pretty
set,
much
right?
as happy as we get.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with more with Ryan and Alex with Augusta Distillery in just a minute.
This episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast is sponsored by bulk spirits and barrel broker Chevalier Cask. With over a decade of industry experience and access to rare and bulk spirits, the mission of Chevalier Cask is to help brands find the spirits and barrels they need to produce award-winning products. Every month, Chevalier will highlight new product offerings and noteworthy sales, like the recently sold 2 totes of 10-year Kentucky bourbon and 5 barrels of 19-year-old Kentucky bourbon. This month's unique offering is an exclusive listing. Chevalier has a ladder of 200 barrels each year from 2 to 7 years old of Kentucky bourbon that was distilled at Bardstown Bourbon Company and aged in premium-grade Canton barrels, coopered from 36-month-old air-dried oak staves. This unique tranche of barrels is an excellent way for a brand to enter and continue in the market with 7-year product. Chevalier also offers access to thousands of bulk whiskey barrels and new Spanish and French oak barrels. For more information, go to chevaliercask.com. James E. Pepper Barrel Proof Decanter Bourbon, distilled at the historic Pepper Distillery, DSP KY5 in Lexington, Kentucky. This new release, bottled in a striking recreated distillery decanter from the 1940s, has garnered high praise and accolades. Coming in at number 27 on Fred Minnick's Top 100 Whiskeys of 2023, it received a 94-point rating and was called absolutely delicious with notes of delicate hazelnut and toffee. Astor Wines, one of New York's most prestigious retailers, writes, "The whiskeys coming of age now are some of the finest from any American whiskey producer. This bourbon is arguably the most impressive you will find at this age. Available nationwide with a suggested retail price of $65. Learn more at jamesepepper.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final round, sadly, of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and we are on location today here in beautiful Augusta, Kentucky. We're at Augusta Distillery, and I have my great friend, Matt. You went from my good friend to my great friend. I get three
Look at
pours
that.
in me, man.
3 pours in me. Yeah, I might even make it into the well by the end of this show. Who knows?
Matt gets every bourbon bottle.
Matt gets my
yes,
debt.
My good friend Matt is here with me. How you doing, Matt?
Mark, I'm doing great. And yourself? You're doing great.
I'm doing great.
We're both
man.
doing it.
Yeah, we're having a great time, and it's a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
love when we get to go places and record on site, and it's just so much fun with the people, everybody looking and seeing what's going on. I mean, this is just a lot of fun. I'm having a great time, man. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm just hoping on the editing that all the background noises fade. But if not,
it
just,
is pretty loud in here.
hey, you know what? If not, it doesn't matter. It just adds character to the show, right?
The activity that we have
Exact-
going on today.
Yeah, exactly right. Because this is a big day.
yeah.
The official release of what we're going to be drinking next. But before we jump into that, I do want to say we are the Bourbon Life Podcast, presented by Liquor Barn. We appreciate Liquor Barn's support, everything they do for us, and everything all of our other sponsors do. We could not bring you all this show week after week without all their support. So thank you, big thank you to all of our sponsors. Matt, with that said, we'd like to tell everybody who we have with us.
That's right. Joining us this afternoon it is now.
that's
Yep.
right.
Joining you all this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whenever it is you're getting your Bourbon Life podcast. We have Ryan Edwards, the president of Augusta Distillery, and Alex Castle, master distiller and director of distillery operations here at Augusta Distillery in Augusta, Kentucky. Welcome on back for our exciting final round of the Bourbon Life podcast.
Thank you. We're excited for this next pour.
Yeah. So let's waste no time.
Let's
Waste
just jump
no time.
in.
Yeah.
Let's jump
What do
in.
we have poured up?
All right. So our fourth pour of the day is actually going to be our Buckner 17. I'll go ahead and hold that up there, which we are officially releasing today.
Right now.
I bought
Right
a bottle.
now.
yeah.
That's why it's so loud. We're releasing it right
I've got
now.
my bottle.
Yeah.
And this particular bottle that we have is actually from barrel number 1.
Fair.
So it's special one, right?
Yeah.
Good to see you,
And
man.
this one clocked in at 112.2.
Okay.
So of the 4, it's the lowest proof we're having. But I think you'll discover it's not lacking in anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Matt, you know how I roll, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've been nosing it. What do you pick up? I was saying bye to Chad. Our buddy Chad was up here taking pictures, and he picked up a bottle as well. So I was unavoidably detained, wishing him a safe trip back to Lexington. So Matt, what do you pick up on the nose in this?
This is a full nose. If I've ever had one, this is full. A lot of the barrel influence coming through, of course, those leathers, tobacco notes. But actually, I'm getting a lot of the distillate on it too. There's a lot of the bourbon notes that we've come to know and love. It's like some sweet, a good corn note punching through. The rye definitely makes itself known. A little bit more in like baking spice, cardamom, like green peppercorn kind of way. Just really like lovely toffees, vanilla caramels as well. Just this is complex. I need to sit with this one a little bit.
Yeah. So Matt, I agree. There's this one again. What was the proof on this, Alex? I'm sorry.
112.
112.
So a little bit lower. And again, on the nose, you don't pick up a high proof bourbon at all.
No.
But you do get those wonderful notes. I still get the cherry. It still just comes through to me. And maybe it's because we've talked about cherry and everything else. And I do enjoy it a lot, that aroma. This one to me has more like of the dark sugar notes to it as well. That kind of stand like a brown sugar, maybe even almost like a burnt, maybe like even molasses type of aroma. The oak comes through, that leather is still there as well to me. Just a light hint. And now you're talking about apples and apple pie earlier. Now I guess I have that in my head, dude, and I don't know why, but that like a crispness almost that comes through on the nose as well. But very nice, man. Very, very nice. Alex, what about you? What do you pick up?
I'm definitely still getting that cherry and that leather.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm also still getting a hint of that marshmallow cream
Okay.
Yeah.
that I was getting in the 13.
Yeah.
There's still just a hint of it lingering.
Very nice. Ryan, anything else?
I just like the progression
Yeah.
from the 13 to the 15 to the 17.
Yeah, you finally got to finish your.
I finally got to
that's
say
right.
17-year-old.
right. Yeah, there you
I
go.
got to finally, this is again my first tasting of the full vertical flight, and they are all tied together. But I do think the 17 is the easiest drinking.
Okay.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
The easiest drinking of all of them. It's probably scary how easy it is to drink.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Well, the nose is
it's
great.
just great.
I haven't even tasted it yet. I just
I
been nosing
know
it
we've
like
got
over
protocol here, and I
Anticipation
can't.
is building.
I
He
can't
doesn't
be
even
controlled.
wait.
Yeah.
I just like to jump in there.
But to your point, though, you can tell they are all in the same family.
Yeah.
They are
yeah,
connected.
Yeah. So, Alex,
Yeah.
one thing we were talking about, and I wanted to talk to you about this on the show here. You know, you were at Old Dominick. You guys started. You had the Hewling Station lineup, which was source whiskey.
Yep.
Then you started releasing your own under the Old Dominick name. So you went through that. You ran the whole gamut from sourced to converting over to your
Yep.
own, and now you're here at Augusta, sourced whiskey.
About to do it all over again.
Converting, going over. So talk about that from your perspective, Director of Distillery Operations. So I'm going to clarify are you using the Master Distiller moniker at all? Or are you just,
I am.
You are, okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how much I can cram on a business card.
That's fine.
so
I just want to make sure. So you are using
you on
both,
two lines
which is
yet?
great. Okay.
I think it is on 2 lines.
You're on 2
Yeah, I
lines?
think it's on 2 lines.
Oh, that's great. So let's talk about that from your perspective as the Master Distiller, going from, a source bourbon that's been very successful, won a lot of awards, and now focusing on distilling your own distillate.
There's nothing about it that's not intimidating. It was the same way in Memphis. You put out product you're incredibly proud of. It does win awards. Depending on the award, best bourbon. How do you top that?
Yeah.
And I have to wait 8 years to figure that one out. So it's absolutely nerve-wracking, but it's also exciting.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate in Memphis, the way we started with our sourcing, we're 2 radically different mash bills than our first estate-produced release.
Yeah.
I did that intentionally, because then you couldn't really compare them.
Sure.
Okay.
And so that made that transition a little easier on me to make them so different. Whereas here, we're going to be going traditional bourbon. We're not doing a high rye bourbon and a Tennessee whiskey. We're doing Kentucky bourbon.
Okay.
So I will be directly competing with these amazing bottles. And I'm excited for the challenge.
So mash bill wise, are you going with the similar, close to, same, or?
Absolutely, at least to start and get us going.
Okay.
Odds are we'll experiment with it, but even with experimentation, we are still going to be Kentucky bourbon.
Okay. All right. Great. Ryan, let's talk about it from your perspective as founder, one of the co-founders, and the president, in terms of going from the barrels you had, sourced, a lot of accolades, success, and now entrusting the brand to the vision of your new master distiller, which nobody's going to ever argue with that. I mean, can you talk about that from your perspective?
I never want to sound arrogant or naive, but I'm probably both. I don't know. I should be staying awake at night worrying about what we're going to have in 8 years, but I'm not. I have faith in the process, and that there have been trailblazers before us that have learned how to make great bourbon, and we are taking that knowledge here at Augusta Distillery and doing everything we've been told to do. Hire phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
We got Alex. 72-hour fermentation cycles. Use good yeast. Open top fermenters so that we get our natural yeast in the air. Does give us a little bit of a unique flavor profile. We can't control that. That's the beauty of it. Making sure our maturation is world-class, that we're getting strong winds, we're getting those true 4 seasons that Kentucky offers us. Buy good wood.
Yep.
Don't cut corners on your cooperage.
Right.
So I think as long as we keep doing what we're supposed to do, in 8 to 10 to 12 to 13 years, Alex and I will be a little bit grayer.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do the math on how old
Right.
that'll make me.
Where are we going to be? How old? When we get to our 17-year-old, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I have faith. It's going to be good.
That's awesome. So I think Matt and I were kind of talking about this on the way up, because it seems like Matt on the show had mentioned or somehow we had it in our head that you guys are going to wait till like 8 years, or is that wrong?
I mean, we have a, call it the talking points, the marketing, the gimmicks, whatever you want to call it, but we are steadfast here at Augusta Distillery. We are Kentucky bourbon, 8 years and older, single barrel, cask strength, unfiltered.
Okay.
We will not deviate from that.
Okay.
And that's a very unique
It is.
line to draw in the sand.
All right, so you're just getting to the point where you're going to start distilling your own stuff. We're talking 8 years. We're talking 2032. I'm doing some math, Matt.
Yeah,
Finally,
that's
I got
right.
the numbers. 2032.
Good on you.
You've got 8 years in between there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those 8 years, Alex. From your perspective, how's that going to look? What are you guys going to be doing?
Of course, in those 8 years, we'll continue with all the source product that we already do. So Buckner's is going to continue on. Who knows what age statements we'll have in those 8 years? Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doing some math, right?
Was that a drop?
Doing the math. That's
So
it.
who knows? Who knows what that looks like? Old Route 8, continue on as it's doing. But what I'm excited to do in those 8 years is here at the distillery, we do have an experience. Even before we had production, and it's our River Proof series.
Okay.
And so if you come to the distillery today, you can actually sample from 3 barrels. And the whole point in those 3 barrels is so that you can really experience different ages, different mash bills, different proofs, and what does that look like? And so we do a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So we don't do anything under 8 outside of the distillery. But here on site, we will let you experience those younger ages. So over the course of the next 8 years, what is currently sourced product for the 2, 4, and 6
We'll be trained.
will slowly start to get fold in ours that is produced here.
I got you.
Yeah.
So that not only do I get to taste it from the barrel, but our guests will also get to kind of come on that journey with us as we see it age.
I think that sounds great.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Good like research and development to see not just behind closed doors being able to try the different product at different ages, but to open it up to the public, get feedback, see how it's developing along people's palates as palates may change within the bourbon industry, and getting the positive or any feedback given that way. It's a great way to look at it. It's a really great opportunity.
And as these source barrels continue to age, when they get to 18, 19, and 20, and you want to start tasting through those, just remember, there are 2 guys in Lexington that...
Now, to be clear, we didn't say anything about an 18, 19, or 20-year-old drop.
I know you did. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that...
I like it. It was a good
not
fishing.
putting that out there. I'm not going to say that at all. So, but that's a nice segue. So this is a big day. Obviously, 17-year-old Buckner's coming out.
Yeah.
Can we talk about other things going on? Any big other plans? I mean, you've got a lot going on with the distillery, obviously. Other products, anything else on
I
the
would
horizon?
say, Alex hit on the River Proof series. So we do like to have fun, just like all the other distillers. So in the distillery, on site, we do afford ourselves more leeway than we do on retail shelves.
Okay.
So we've got what do we have? We've got a double oak toasted River Proof series. These are small productions. We're talking a few barrels here on site only. That's coming out here in a few weeks.
We did one in a white port.
We got a white port. So we will play around.
I didn't even know white port was a thing.
I can honestly say I still have never drinking white port, but we will have a white port finished bourbon.
I was going to say, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I had no clue until I showed up and they told me they had a white port
Matt
barrel.
says it's delicious.
Matt knows about it, so Matt knows.
Yeah, so a white port, and then there was a sherry.
The sherry is bottled up already. We just haven't actually put it on the shelf yet.
Okay.
Nice.
But to more specifically answer the question, I think we're set on the product lineup for at least the near future.
Okay.
It's going to be the focus on Old Route 8 and the Buckner lineup.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're set for because we're not going to be a brand that's going to have 40 expressions on the shelf.
Right.
It is a much more narrow focus, and it's always on traditional Kentucky bourbon kind of at its core. I know I've said it multiple times. I can't help it. Single barrel, cask strength, unfiltered.
But now you were talking about the different finishings and things like that for the river proofs
For
here.
here, yeah.
So that's kind of experimental, right? So opportunity to
fun.
play around.
Yeah.
Talk about that, Alex, for you as a master distiller, because for the line for Augusta, you've got a vision, right? And like you guys know where you want to go. It's going to be Ryan. You said earlier it's going to be this. It's going to be Kentucky bourbon, 8 years old, single barrel, non-chill filtered. So you've got these guardrails. But as a master distiller, it's still, I guess, I would assume, fun to have the opportunity to
Absolutely.
experiment around, right?
Even, because when it comes to whiskey, I'm a traditionalist. I don't know if it's because I was born and raised in Kentucky, what it is, but bourbon is bourbon is bourbon. Don't mess with it. But I also love to have fun with flavors. We saw it in Memphis. We had that R&D series where we had an oatmeal raisin cookie bourbon. Like, holy crap, how cool is that? And so to be able to do that on a small scale, let it be a one-off, because maybe you'll never be able to recreate that gem ever again, and that's okay.
Right.
So to see what you can do with that, because let's also be honest, not every barrel is wonderful. Sometimes they need a little help.
They need some extra
They need
love,
a little
right?
extra love, and so that's where those finishings can come in. They can help take a standard whatever bourbon and take it to the next level in a really fun way.
Sure. And it's fun because you get to experiment a little bit and see what you can do with white port, which I never knew was a thing. I mean, come on, right?
Well, and to be clear, we didn't limit ourselves we didn't say anything about mash bills, playing with mash bills. We didn't say anything about playing with barrels, whether it's a char 1 or a char 4.
Good point.
Yeah, we're
no
gonna,
toast,
we're gonna
40-minute
have fun.
toast.
Okay.
So there's still, even with the line we've drawn, there's still a large
elements you can
area to play with.
I got
Well,
you.
because even today with the River Proof series, one of the 3 that you sample is a wheated bourbon. So
45% wheat.
It's 45% wheat.
It's a heavy wheat.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we're open to those things. I think, Ryan may always be our favorite. I don't know. But we'll absolutely play with some wheateds. And we just started the conversations about, what do we do with barrels?
Nice.
And so who knows what rabbit hole we're going to go down with barrels.
Well, there is a rabbit hole, and we're going to go down it.
Good.
Oh, well, that's good to know. That's
Good.
really cool. So we're almost at the end of round 3. Matt, we should probably talk about the palate and the finish on this. I don't think we've done that yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
I drank all mine.
What do you get? You already got your notes, man. So
Yeah, on the 17, I think like Ryan said, the easiest drinking of the lot. I would love to be drinking this every day. I will definitely say that. I get a lot of like toffee Heath bar notes right up front, almost like a kind of that. We've talked a lot about burnt sugar, like a crisp, darker sugar. Some of those notes, but a little bit more barrel influence comes through with almost like a mocha on the palate for me. There's like a touch of chocolate, almost a little coffee with a great tobacco leather oak notes. Like kind of a funky umami, like great barrel flavor to it as well. Just really rich, really full. Lovely, lovely product.
Yeah, and again, crazy, 17 years, still no tannic effect, no drying, no nothing. Because I thought, okay, we're on the edge, and I thought I'm going to get this 17-year-old, I'm going to start getting that, and not at all. So I'm thrilled to know that, surprised as well. But this almost comes across sweeter to me, like more sugar.
Than all of them?
Yes, for me it does on the palate.
Okay.
This one I get the cherry, but that sugar, that burnt sugar, it's almost sweeter to me for some reason. Again, 112 proof, was that right? Mm-hmm. Easy to sip on. So yeah, this is one could easily again sip on most of the day,
half the
right?
bottle's gone before you know
I know.
it.
It's like, oh no, how'd I do that? So, Alex, what about you? Anything on the palate there in the finish?
Definitely getting the leather and the sweet nose, but I'm also getting a little black licorice. Like just aftertaste almost.
That's
Gotcha.
fair.
That's
fair.
But I think that's where some of that sweetness is coming from, too.
Yeah,
It's a nice, sweet licorice note to it.
Yeah, because on the finish, I guess it just keeps coming back as a sweet, not even like necessarily that burnt sugar, but just an overall sweetness. But that makes sense, like a licorice, black licorice. Ryan, what about you?
I think I've already said it all. It's pretty much what you all said. I do agree with a little bit, because I don't usually get black licorice, but I got that in there. And it is the smoothest, and it's because it was the lowest in the Rick House.
Yeah.
You know, that's where the 112 comes from. The proof didn't go up so much; it actually went down.
Yeah.
Because these, I don't think we've said it here yet. These were all barreled at 120 proof. So we've gone from 120 down to 112, and that's why it probably doesn't have that heavy tannic.
Yeah.
It's just nice and smooth and easy to drink, and
it really is.
A great, nice bourbon.
Yeah, it's delicious. So, guys, we're almost at the end here, but before we wrap it up, and I always like that, this will be your fourth time, Alex. I ask this all the time. What's been the best part of this journey for you, if you don't care to share? Overall, the whole journey, what's favorite part? Do you have anything you can...
Oh, Lord.
You can say to people, because, you know,
You joke, but honestly, when I set out to be in this industry 20 plus years ago, we'll leave it at that.
Wait, you started when you were 10?
When I wanted to be
when you're 14.
When I was 14, so I'm just going to stick with 20 plus.
There you go.
Not give exact years on that one. What I didn't know is the true attraction of this industry are the people.
Yeah.
Whether it's actually those working in the distilleries, the enthusiasts, the podcasters, all of that, like, it is such a community, and getting to meet so many people through it all, there's no better place to be.
That's awesome. Ryan, what about you? What's been the best part of your journey on it?
The team's awesome. You got to go with the team, but if you put that to the side for a second, it was it Wednesday of this week? I think it was Wednesday. Might have been Tuesday. I start hearing this clacking in the distillery, and I didn't actually know at the time. I'm like looking at Alex. We're standing back there at something that was broken in the distillery, and I'm like, what is that? Clacking. What is that? And then finally, a gentleman by the name of Justin, who's installed most of the piping in this building, finally came out and said, dude, we got steam in the pipes right now. That's what it is. It's steam in the pipes. And then we run upstairs to the fermenters, and there's this fermenter.
He's like, oh, I need to get a picture.
I need a picture. I said, I need a picture.
I need a
We run up to
picture.
the fermenters, and there's no covers on them or anything. And there's this brown, nasty liquid in the bottom of them, but there's steam coming up from that. 'Cause,
Nice.
You know, these pipes had never been distilled
been,
in
right,
before,
right,
so there's
right.
glue and crap in them.
Nastiness.
Just
yeah.
nastiness.
Yeah.
And there's just this brown fluid bubbling in the bottom of the fermenters. Today, I will change my answer probably tomorrow, but today that is by my best memory.
Awesome.
Is steam coming out of the fermenters.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, it's progress. It's forward progress.
It's progress.
Yeah.
And a vision that you started years ago, and now, I mean, to see it all come into fruition, and to actually physically see that manifestation of the thoughts and the dreams, I mean, that's got to be like incredibly rewarding to you as a founder, to know that your vision that you had has now become this. And you look at, I mean,
One week.
Look at all the people that are in this place today, man. I mean,
Right.
it's got to be it's got to make you feel great to know that people enjoy your product and what you're doing here in Augusta, to the extent that they're coming out on a Saturday and just not just buying bottles, but they're hanging out. I mean, they're just they're kind of just relaxing here, right? I mean, that speaks volumes about who you guys are and what you mean to your community, man. So congratulations on that.
Thank
so
you.
If people want more information, well, if they want to come and visit, you guys are here in Augusta, right? So they can come and visit the distillery.
Augusta, Kentucky. We're open Wednesday through Sunday. Depends on the day, but noon to 5 is.
Okay.
We'll keep you in between the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys offer tours and things as well, or are there?
We have the Alex mentioned it. We've got the river-proof barrel thieving experience where we have 3 barrels on site. They stay consistent by year, but you can actually pull the bung on the barrel, thieve from the barrel, fill your own bottle from the barrel. So it's a pretty cool 45-minute hands-on tasting experience. Our production tour, don't hold me to this, but we should have the actual production tour start around August 1st.
Okay. Great.
And then we've got the cigar rolling experience, where we have partnered with local farmers. The Cummins family, to be more specific, where Kentucky grows Connecticut broadleaf tobacco. That is the wrapper on cigars. We've already cured that for 4 years. So you can actually come here and roll a high-end cigar in an experience and smoke that and have a great time.
Yeah.
With a good bourbon pairing. And we've got some other things coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
so
that sounds great.
Always changes here at the moment.
So people want to get information, find out more things, where they can get your products as well. The website, what's the address on that? www.augustakydistillery.com.
Okay. Because there is
to
Augusta,
let them know
Georgia.
that-
And
Yeah,
we
we're
are
not that Augusta.
Yeah, not that Augusta. We are not
Augusta
the
KY.
we are not the official sponsor of the Masters yet.
You guys are on Instagram and social media as well, correct? Yeah.
Everything.
So people can find more information on there.
Yep, and
And
just
your
always
products.
remember that KY.
Yeah.
The KY is critical.
The product distribution and availability. Where can people find?
We are in. It gets confusing because we are expanding pretty quickly. We are in 10 states.
Okay.
10 with an asterisk. It may be 11 or 12.
I got you. Okay.
We will be in 22 by year end.
Wow. Okay.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
that's
good for
great.
you all.
Congratulations on that. So final thoughts before we wrap it up and send it home. Alex, final thoughts. Our first 4-time guest. I mean, come on. You got to make it memorable. Final thoughts. Come on.
Final thoughts. Shoot, my thoughts right now are just a swirl. It's been
can't
a
imagine.
crazy
I'm
3
sure.
weeks.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine a more exciting 3 weeks being capped off with this amazing release, getting to sit down with y'all. I'm so glad we finally are getting to record in Kentucky together.
Yes.
I'm happy to be home, happy to be making Kentucky bourbon.
Awesome. Well, we're thrilled for you. Happy to have you back. So congratulations, Alex, on that. Ryan, final thoughts before we get out of here today.
Appreciate you both coming here today, giving us a chance, talking to us about what we're doing.
Yeah.
On our Buckner 17 release, I'm looking over my shoulder, and I actually think we've sold out.
Awesome.
And we didn't have a small amount of bottles. We did have a fairly decent release, so that's huge. Excited to make bourbon.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Next
awesome,
week.
man. Congratulations.
That's
on
where
that.
I'm at.
Next,
Or the week after.
It's coming. It's going to be
Next
here.
week.
Yeah,
Next week. Next week, Alex.
Next
tomorrow.
week. I know
Hang
what
in
I'm
there.
doing. I know what I'm
we'll
doing.
be there. Matt, final thoughts, man, before we wrap it up today.
Thank you all for the hospitality, for having us up here. We always appreciate it. Alex, 4 times the charm. Can't wait to have you back for the 5th.
Absolutely.
Ryan, we'll be up here again. Looking forward to everything you all
I
are
hope
doing.
I get to 4.
We do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, if that happens, though, that would be 3 more. That would be your 7.
Yeah, I was saying, if we get you to 4, what does that put me at?
That would put you at 7.
More.
Yeah,
Just more.
There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
having us and hosting us here on site. Just a great facility. This is so much fun. Congratulations to you guys on the successful release of the 17-year-old. I'm happy I got our bottle first. That was my big concern because I thought, man, if we have to wait till after we finish, is there going to be anything left? So I'm happy I got the bottle ahead of time. So happy to do that. But thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure. Alex, always great to have you on the show. And next time we'll bring you a special gift because it'll be your 5th time. We'll have to commemorate that for sure. But with that said, I will wrap up the show. We are the Bourbon Life Podcast presented by Liquor Barn. We appreciate our sponsors. We appreciate Liquor Barn especially for being our presenting sponsor, but all of our other sponsors, everything they do for us. We could not do this show without all of their help and support. And to you, our listener, thank you all for joining us every week. Like Matt always says, whatever time of day it is, you get your Bourbon Life fix. We appreciate you joining us. And again, if you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Bourbon Life. We have our private Facebook group, The Bourbon Lifers. We'd love to have you join us in there. We have some fun conversations, things going on there. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. I promise I'll do my best to get back to you if you email us. And if you feel so inclined, please leave us a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Don't forget to check out our buddy, as Matt likes to call him, Big Tex, but Big Chief, doing the Whiskey Trip podcast. Our good buddy. His show comes out every Tuesday under our umbrella. He's doing some great stuff. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Send us home with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the Bourbon Life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.
Welcome to the kitchen table at James B. Beam Distilling Company, where every visit is a celebration of tradition and flavor. Did you know that the kitchen table is nestled right within the heart of the distillery? That's right. You can experience the essence of James B. Beam's legacy while savoring their delectable dishes. Join them every Wednesday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a culinary journey like no other. Planning a special event? Let the kitchen table be your host, creating unforgettable memories for you and your guests. And don't miss their exclusive Behind the Beam tour and monthly Claremont Supper Club events, which will feature their 2024 Knob Creek releases at their dinner on July 18th. For more information and reservations, visit beamdistilling.com. The kitchen table at James B. Beam Distilling Company. Come as a friend, leave as family.